Hello, good afternoon, good evening. How we doing on this Friday? What's going on? Where are we at? Are you all ready? You all ready for another game, another week, another another day of hope before it is ultimately dashed in the rocks on Saturday? What are we thinking? How you guys doing today? What's going on? How do we feel? Chelsea, upcoming tomorrow. We're what? Less than 24 hours from that game. Can we rack up our second win of the season? I sure hope so. I sure hope so. But happy Friday to everyone. The weekend is here. 3 more games into the international break. I know, it's annoying. And then we get 4 more. And then we get another international break. And it feels like we're not able to just get any sort of room, any sort of run going. We are at my wit's end. Yes, indeed. I understand. Not watching any games until December for my mental health. Yeah, I get that too. We are ready to get hurt again, Bazimon. We are ready. Here for the Daily Copium. Invite me. Sammy, your idea for well, I won't spoil it. Your idea is terrible. It's terrible. As you guys file in, please make sure to like the video, pump those numbers up. It is quiet today. It is really quiet today for some reason. I don't know what happens, but it feels like in the United States, they've kind of done to death the fact that we've been shit. A lot of the leaks. One thing I've noticed is this. So this will be where we start tonight. I've noticed that a lot of the leaks, a lot of the clickbait, a lot of things like that are getting called out. Well, I'm calling some of it out, but a lot of stuff is not biting in the way that it was before.
We'll watch the live later, just here to support. Have a great one, guy.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate you very much. And that reminds me, they did a cool thing where they set these things where they want like a minimum of 15 super chats. And I was like, that's kind of cool. Set a timer, 45 minutes. And then what do? Like, thank you. And then you just start it. And it just reminds people, and it just like shows a goal like, hey, send donations. Thank you, Jason, for that, by the way. I just thought that was cool. There's all these little things you can do to participate. But yes, of course, it's Friday, and we've been doing this every day pretty much. But all of the messages will be read out live. But yeah, one of the things that I've certainly noticed recently is that I feel as though a lot of the bait doesn't bite. And the only people who are kind of biting on the bait are people who are kind of like pushing that they want to believe what is there rather than actually believing it and wanting to use it to stir drama. Because I noticed like all those stories about like sacking and look at the replacements for managers and things like that. They did this like big whoop, and then it was like cut. Doesn't go on. Doesn't continue. Hi James, long time watcher, first time catch live. Welcome here. It doesn't continue. You know, like when the story came out, like 3 games to save the job, and when stories come out like, oh, we're looking at these managers and all of that, it's instantly cut out. I mean, I said right away, early on in this week, there's nothing in this. You know, there's nothing in this at all. There's nothing brewing in that way. And then I think that there's a lot less talk, there's a lot less chatter, there's a lot less little things like leaking out and being said here and there to kind of stir up the drama. And so, yeah, and like the sacking story was just from a journalist looking at the bookies odds. And I think that United have become so closed up, which I think they should be in essence, in terms of not caring to brief, on stories and things like that, that it's just, It's just not catching. You know what I mean? It's not getting the foothold. I mean, you have a few people who are like, oh, there's a bunch of smoke, but then the smoke instantly dies, and look how quickly it dies, right? Because it's not even like you're not even getting, like, in my opinion, you're not even seeing the same like vote of confidence type of thing. It's, guys, we're not even talking about it. It's not even a subject of discussion. You know what I mean? We're not even thinking about the manager right now. Like, whether you agree or not, that is the message. Nobody's even talking about, at United, nobody is talking about replacing the manager as of yet. You know? And for good reason at the moment in terms of the way they're thinking. How many times I've sat here and said, listen, guys, in their view, in the way that they see it, it's Ruben Amorim's first season. And you say, well, how's that possible? That's crazy. That makes no sense. How can you say that when we lost all these games last year? How can you judge things that way? How can they look at it like that? But I told you that's the case because you have to understand, like, what was the job description? What was he hired for last season? And I get people being upset and I get people looking at things this way, but you know, it's like if you went to apply for a job, all right, and it was like, cool, and it was like accounting, you know, I don't even have a good, let me think about this for a second. Let's say for a moment, you went and let's use a relationship analogy, as I think this will work. Let's say for a moment you started dating someone and you were like, yeah, like, you know what I want out of my girlfriend or wife or what have you is I would like someone to come in, keep house, cook and clean. All right, I'm not trying to be misogynistic, but that's what I want. I want someone to come in and do that. And they come in and they cook and they clean. And you say, cool. Now that you've done that, I also want you to go get a job and earn. That might be fair. We all need to pitch into this household. You know, that's the idea. Okay? You wouldn't go, well, if they got that job and started working, you wouldn't go, well, for the last few years, I've told you, I've needed you to, you haven't been doing a good job as a spouse because you're not earning a lot of money yet. They go start out, they do some little job, they're trying to participate in the household and earning, and you're saying, well, you haven't participated. You haven't been earning money. You haven't been doing great at your job. But they have. They did what you asked them to do for the last few years. Now you're asking them to do something a little different. Now, it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy when you say that about a manager, like that the job wasn't to win games. It sounds crazy when you say that, but it wasn't. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you, and you know why they're not gonna publicize that type of thing. But I've been telling you for a long time. Yeah, you're doing well at your job, but now I need you to manage Manchester United. We're asking, like, it sounds crazy, but we were not, like, people kept saying, no, you hire the manager's job is to win games. No, it isn't. It generally isn't. I mean, that's the craziest part about all of this. And people are going to lose their minds. You say something like that. I understand why it's impossible to accept. I understand why it's hard to accept. I understand why nobody can accept it, because you come in and you think, yeah, the job is immediately to win games, but it's not. You know, the question is, what problem are you coming in to solve? You know what I mean? That is actually, it's not to lose games, but what is the job description? I'll give you an example. Okay, here's a better analogy. Are you ready? I'm not saying it isn't part of the job that you got to win, but take Ineos coming in, and then I'll go to Wilcox comments so you can kind of see the comparison thing. And I know this sounds nuts. It sounds nuts, and it sounds like some awful, horrible thing, but you have to open your mind for a minute and think outside the box for a moment. When United came in, when Ineos come in, okay, to the ownership of the club, what is their job? What is the primary job that they have? Okay, what is it? The answer is to build the best club and win titles, right? Like, that's the goal, but that's not really how you achieve the goal. Okay, and I'm talking about phases of play and phases of building and things like that. When they came into United, was firing 400 people, is that the job description? You know, yeah, a priority is probably the right word there, Bliff. I'm glad you're understanding what I'm getting at, right? When they come into United, was the job description for Ineos, sure, you want to end up winning titles. Was the job description to fire 400 staff? Was the job description to be changing managers? Was the job description, you know, yes, actually, those are the things you're supposed to do. But one might say, well, no, your job is to come in and make United good and win games. As the owners, you need to come in and make sure United are winning games. But how do you get to actually winning games? How do you actually get to the point where you can win games? How do you get to that? Well, there's a whole bunch of shit that has to be done before you can win those games. And that included, unfortunately, things like sorting the finances, things like sacking off a ton of employees. That doesn't help you win games. Losing 400, 500, 600 staff, turning all this over actually makes you worse in the short term. I think everybody would agree with that. It genuinely makes you worse in the short term to lose a bunch of employees, even if you're overstaffed. In the short term, it makes you worse. In the short term, it causes chaos. So they came in and caused chaos. They came in and caused disorder. They came in and caused disorganization. They came in and caused all sorts of negative things. That's the facts. Ineos came in and caused a whole bunch of negative shit within the club when they joined as owners. They did. And it's a big part of where things went wrong. But you had to. Because sometimes you do have to destroy in order to rebuild. Right? You can't come into a building that's rotting and then just say, cool, we're just going to paint the walls and we'll be all good. No, you do have to, it was livable. Someone could live in it. It's falling apart a bit. It's a bit old. You can live in it. You're just getting by. We had to destroy it in order to rebuild something better in its place. The destruction phase is making things worse. The manager is the same. And that's the job description. Ruben Amorim's job wasn't come in, look at the players we have, and just win a bunch of games. Get the most out of them. No, it was to come in and take a look. Do we even have a team worth anything? Do we have a team that has an identity? Do we have a team that can win games? Do we have a team that can win titles? Do we have a team that can play any style of play? And you know what the answer was? No. No, it wasn't. We didn't have that. And so it was good to sort the squad out. That was the goal last season. Obviously, you want to try to win every game. You want to go into every game. You want to do your best. You want to try to win it. You want to do what you can there. You want to try to keep training and instilling a style and things like that. But it wasn't viewed as like, well, that's how we're going to judge you, because that wasn't the job description last year. The job description last season was figure out how to rebuild this team. Figure out what we have. Figure out what we have. Figure out what we don't have. And start to instill some kind of identity. Jason Wilcox, in this like dinner thing the other night, okay, what he said was, when he came in to the club, he said it was actually a lot like he knew of United from playing against them and all that, and from being at City and everything. But what he said was, quote, we had no playing identity, and there was no alignment between the owners, the CEO, down to the academy. That's what he said the other day. Well, let's say we have no playing identity. Well, then job one is start to instill some kind of playing identity, because you have to figure out an identity, and start instilling it into the team and recruit to match it. Okay. That's Wilcox's job, and that's his job, to get a manager that's going to go in and stick to it. Now, the results are bad. The job is not just to win games, though, because there is a short and there is a long of anything. The job is actually to win titles, not to win games. The job is to win titles, not to win games. You get to win titles by winning games, but you can do things in the short term that are to your detriment in the long term. So they could have come, if you want to just win games, if you just want to win games immediately, what could they have done? They could have, you can buy older, more established, more experienced players. You can do that immediately, and you can win more games. There's teams and managers that go that route. Buy older, more established players. Just go that route. That's what we did. Just spend a lot of money on those types of players. In terms of building a squad, and they'll do better right away. They'll hit the ground running. We could go spend as much as it would have taken to get like I don't know, Chris Wood at striker instead of Šeško, and he will immediately, do better.
James' confidence is very low in our players, and what worries me whether we will scar our new recruits permanently because of recent losses.
Yeah, I would agree. I would tend to agree. It is worrisome. There's obviously a limit to this, because you can't, like, when you're tearing the house down and rebuilding it, you can't keep knocking down walls as you go. There's a danger of all right, we've torn it down, we're rebuilding, and then you just screw up the construction and keep walls keep falling down over and over. Is there an echo? Hold on, guys. Let me fix the echo. Why is there an echo? Is there actually an echo when that happens? Why is that happening? Desktop audio. AirPods. I have no idea why that's happening, guys. I'm not gonna lie. God mode TTS. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see when the next one comes in, because I don't have anything else monitoring, but you never know. Sometimes shit happens. Yeah, no, I understand. It's that. It's yeah, you have to start winning for sure. There's no doubt about that. You have to start winning, or it can start to damage everything else that you're doing when you don't start. My point was, last year there was no chance to rebuild. It was destruction. It was figuring it out. That's why you had the bomb squad and all of that following it. It was figure out, we got to clean house, we've got to remove players, we've got to do all of this, we've got to do everything. Now this season the job is to win. To what degree is to win enough to get back into Europe. So the job is to get back into Europe, right? To get into the Europa League. Now, at the same time, the job is also continue instilling a consistent style of play, continue instilling certain principles, be consistent in your management, and things like that. So let's see if it happens this time. It's not reading out at all now. Shit. My bad. Let's see about this one. Hold on. Holla holla at the echo. Well, now it's not reading out at all. What the fuck? Hold on one second, guys. We've completely messed it up now. Where was it reading? Was it reading to you guys? Could you guys hear it? Fixed by it not reading out at all. That's not what I intended. Did it read out for you? Oh my god, dude. It didn't read out for you at all. Hold on a second. I don't like reading anyways. I just want to fix it, because when people donate and it's supposed to read out, I'd like it to read out. I don't know why it was echoing, for what it's worth, but it should be reading out. This is all bait to get more super chats. Yeah, a little bit. No, it's not. But it does work. I mean, you tell people to do stuff and they just like, hold on. And then they just do it, man. Alert box. Hold on. Okay. YouTube. Super chats. Let's see. How do I play it again? That's my question. There used to be a way I could replay it, and now I don't know. Events.
This is a test super chat message.
All right, is it still echoing? Is it still echoing? $48 from Test Kevin. Not real. I have derailed. Apologies. I've been derailed. Let me know if that was better though. If it's still echoing or if we were okay. It was good. All right, we're fixed. All right, we're fixed. Sweet, sweet. Bug fixing live. Let's go. Okay. Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. I think the formation is an easy one to go at because we're playing something a little bit different to everybody else. The formation has been fine. Yeah, I mean, it's good when players say that. But no, but like it's like, I don't know, man. There is context. That's why I'm saying, you know, that's why I'm saying it in a live where I'm talking for like an hour. You know what I mean? Because obviously what I'm saying has to be done and stated within context. The job is different. Like the goal is win a title. Win titles, and by titles I mean Premier League titles, not FA Cups. It's to win Premier League titles. It's to win Champions League titles. It's to win the biggest titles of everything. The steps to getting there are different. It's not always the same. It's not just walk into said game, win said game. There's things like, you think about stuff like squad building and all of that, and some of it is like is at times antithetical to winning games. For example, like we were speaking earlier on the Trinity, and KG was saying like he needs to see Šeško start because you know he needs to get his confidence, and his confidence could be ruined, and it could be this and that, and that could be a problem. But what if Mount and Cunha are just better then, right now? What if Mount and Cunha are just better right now? You kind of look like Edward. I missed your thing. Sorry, because I was bug fixing. Who? Oh, No Neck. Is that Big Ed? No Neck Ed? Fair enough. I mean, that's what you think. Is that No Neck Big Ed from? My wife used to watch that. I've got a neck. See, I've got a neck. But, you know, there are steps towards it. So what if right now Cunha and Mount are giving you a better chance to win? Well, then you shouldn't play Šeško. But there are reasons to get Šeško going, because in the long term, you kind of do need Šeško to win more games in the future. Right? So it's not about not winning games, but it's about short-term consequences and long-term consequences, short-term views and long-term views. Sometimes the things you do today are detrimental to winning today, but help you win in the future. Help you win more in the long term, like playing young players, like playing guys like Šeško, like things like that, you know. If you have players who may be better today, you know what I mean? Those might be better. And so that's kind of where the whole thing kind of falls down, okay? Is that there are things you're doing every single day. I love your content, but can't win games with mouse. To be fair, we won with Cunha as striker against Burnley, and we played with Cunha at striker against Arsenal and against Fulham. Our worst performance, I think, has been when we haven't had Cunha and Mount on the pitch, which is ironic. At the moment, we play better with Cunha and Mount, actually, As a team, we play better. But we kind of need to get Šeško going. And that's a small microcosm of the problem, that sometimes there's things you need to do today that maybe make your chances a little lower today, but there are things you have to do now to win tomorrow. Point being, regardless, they obviously view it this way. And I know they view it this way. That last season, the priorities were different. The tools were different. Amorim told them when they hired him, I don't want to join right now because this isn't a team that's going to work. You know, this isn't a team that's going to fit. This is going to be really difficult coming in mid-season, no transfers, you know, leaving my club where I'm successful. This is going to be crap for me, you know? And they said, well, we know, but it's now or never, but we're giving you a clean slate. How many times did I say that? That was the discussion. That was the agreement. They made that agreement with him. They knew, right? And you can say, well, they shouldn't have, but that's kind of the thing. They had a couple choices at that point in time. Sign a guy that they felt was going to be the long-term manager that fit their idea of the team and then start to shape the squad for him, or hire somebody who was going to play all the players who were there and not start to shape the squad and just try to get by. Those were their two choices at that point in time. They picked like the guy who, they picked the guy that they knew wouldn't fit. Like someone made a basketball analogy in the Trinity thing earlier, and they said, like, imagine hiring a coach who asked Steph Curry not to shoot threes. It actually makes sense. I see that, except they did. But we don't have a Steph Curry. You know, we don't have that. We don't have somebody that good. We're moving on. We're like, imagine Steph Curry's retiring and you need to move on. You know, that's what we did, though. We did hire a manager that doesn't fit the squad at all because we're trying to turn over the entire squad. And that was the point. That was really the point of what they did. Agree, disagree, it doesn't matter. That was the ownership. That's what Omar said. That's what Wilcox said. That's what Sir Jim said. That's what they told Ruben Amorim when they hired him. You know? Now I can't hear it again. Maybe something in there is hitting the filter. Minte, DeBast, Verbruggen, and two mids, we win it all. I mean, I think those are good players for sure. I think that one hit a filter. Rashi maybe could have been that guy, but as I've said many times, unfortunately, it was beyond him. You know, it was beyond us on that front. Regardless, we're starting fresh. That's the truth. We're starting fresh. That's the view of the club. That's why they're not talking about a new manager. We hired a manager. We gave him, he has a summer window. We've turned the squad over. They're looking at it like, imagine if we'd given a manager. Here's how I would see it. If we had just hired Ruben Amorim, and you don't have to agree with this, but this is the view. If we just hired Ruben Amorim and we gave him this squad and he had one summer,
we have been through a lot as United fans over these past however many years. When it clicks, someone is getting a pasting, a big team. Tomorrow maybe.
Tomorrow maybe. Hopefully, right? Hopefully. Hopefully that would be the case. I do feel like at some point it'll click and it will fly. But if he was starting this summer, this is how you can view it. Whether you agree or not, this is how you can view it. No, it's working now. It just, something got filtered. Why is that one getting filtered? What? That's so weird. I'm good, Angie. Thank you. I can't figure it out. Technical difficulties. Anyway, if we hired Amorim this summer, gave him this squad, one preseason, you would not be talking about a sacking after 4 games. So they're not. Now, he's unfortunately dealing with the fact that he was here earlier. They did lose a lot of games. The pressure has been on there. Even if that was okay from a management perspective, even if they're not blaming him for it, he's feeling the heat from that. Okay? He's feeling the heat from that. Either way, no matter what, that's the truth. He's going to feel the heat from that regardless. So they're not looking at a sacking after 4 games. They're saying if he started this summer, when would you be worried? And let me ask you that, because people are going to share this, have a different opinions on this, different views on this, different feelings on this matter. If this was Ruben Amorim's first summer, when would you actually start thinking that, I'm going to poll this because I'm quite curious. If this was Amorim's first season, actually, when would he be under pressure? Like under pressure, seriously. Like now? Like weeks 7 to 10? 11 to 8-16? That's like the next break. January or end of season? Like when would he be under pressure if it was the first season? When would you see that a manager be under pressure? Because like I remember when we brought in Solskjaer and he did the interim period and then he came in and he had his first season. It was rough till January, man. It was like really, really rough. But I'm seriously curious if he was really a first summer, when would the manager have until, in your eyes? When would be fair? Coffee there. Close to the end of the season. Last season, especially the Europa final. Sure, among fans, but I'm saying, I'm just telling you, like, if you were thinking with management, I don't think they would be even close to sacking him right now. But I hear you. Like, I know that's the part that's weighing on him. That's the part that's weighing on the team. That's the part that's weighing on, like, everybody. Is that there's been games we lost. The issue, of course, is that they knew that was going to happen. And they did it anyway. You know what I mean? Like, that's the issue. The issue is that it was, like, expected. So... interesting. January. I mean, this is a lot of people saying that, right? So obviously we're all kind of tainted by what happened at the end at last year, right? We're all kind of tainted by that, right? Because if it was his first season, it would be like, I'm not even that patient to say, oh yeah, well, we'll give him the full season no matter what, you know? I'm not even that patient, and I'm very pro Amorim, but like, that's 57%. I expected it to be a lot closer to like maybe, you know, in the middle. But it is like, this is the view. It's what's happened last year has really caused this kind of concern so early on, right? But this isn't how it is. This isn't how it is. So that's just the reality of the situation. So I think it's easier to like confront and face it and look at it when you view it through that kind of lens, that that's what's going on right now. Right? So Wilcox said, here's the funny part. Here's the funny part, all right? Are you ready for this? You say he should be sacked after Spurs. Why? Why? Here's what's always really funny to me. Here's what's always really funny to me, okay? Managers get more heat for making a final and losing than they do getting knocked out of a competition early on. You can't... Getting to the Europa League final is also a positive. Like, you have to credit the ability to get to the Europa League final if you want to say you want to sack someone off of one game, well, what about getting to the final? Because we've only reached 2. Ten Hag got us knocked out by Sevilla in the Europa League. Did you call for his sacking? Why not? Right? Ten Hag got us knocked out of the Champions League, and people accepted it. Isn't making the Europa League final more successful than getting knocked out versus Sevilla and getting dropped from the Champions League groups? Because you actually have to get there. We won every game and every round in Europa up to that point. So, I think that part of it is losing to Spurs is an embarrassment. Okay, so what? It's still one game. It's still just one game. It's still just one game. That one game is much less embarrassing to me than our Champions League group stages, not being able to get through the groups. It's much less embarrassing than getting knocked out by Sevilla, in the year prior in the knockout rounds. It's much less embarrassing than all of that. That's how I see it. It's not really comparing, it's not really comparing failure to less failure. We've done so much worse. And it's like, oh, well, you have to go both ways with it. We actually made a European final. We've only done that 3 times in the last 13 years. We've only done that 3 times in the last 13 years. Arsenal in all of their times and their rebuild have never made any European final. Final isn't worth finishing 15th. I agree with you on that. Spurs sacked the manager after the win. Yeah, after 2 years. And they actually finished below us in the table. He had been there for 2 years. Not as an interim 6 months. Sorry to say. That was an incredible... The thing is, I know Onana cost us, but that was an ungodly easy group. We had Copenhagen. We didn't get results against Copenhagen and... I don't remember the other one, but obviously we had Bayern, but there was no excuse for not getting through that group under any circumstances. I have said this before, which is kind of interesting, and is just a proven fact, by the way, in football. Okay, interim managers don't actually do anything. Okay, when we sacked Ten Hag, we were in 14th. We were on 8 points in 7 games. Galatasaray, that's right. We were on 8 points in 7 games. Okay? At the end of the season, we were on 42 points in 38 games. It's the same thing, and we finished in 15th. Interim managers don't do anything. I shared this stat when we were looking at it mid-season and why I didn't want to let Ten Hag go during the year. I wanted him gone in summer. When you change managers mid-season, 9 times out of 10, you end up exactly where you started when the interim came in, wherever that was. If you look at our league position, when we sacked Jose and we brought in Ollie, we ended the season exactly where we started when Jose was sacked, exactly where. When Ollie was sacked and we brought in Rangnick, we ended the season exactly where we were before that. We didn't change. When we sacked Ten Hag and brought in Ruben Amorim, we ended the season exactly where we were when we sacked the prior manager. It happens every single time, and each time it sours people. A lot of people were soured on Solskjaer by the end of that period. Where by the end of his season, we had that 4-0 loss to Everton or whatever when he made the comments like, a lot of players aren't going to be here. You know what I mean? Remember that. It was negative. People were really negative by the end of that first... people were really, really negative by the end of his actual first year. And he was already signed as the permanent manager. He got the new manager contract and then we completely fell off a cliff and stopped winning games. And by the end of the season, it was bad. And I remember that people were really, really, really negative about Solskjaer in the end of that season that he got hired in. We had some awful, truly atrocious games to end that year. And, and it was like, okay, this happens every single time. And then every single time people are surprised about it because for the most part, it doesn't do much, an interim manager. And there's a lot of evidence to kind of support that. Unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, look, like I look at it and I go, this is just how they view things. We'll see where we're at. You know, this season, we've got to now start winning games, and that's my feeling. The goal for this season is Europe. If we're on pace for Europe, cool. If we're not, we're not. It's been a bad start. It's been a bad start. If it keeps going bad, then it's going to be another bad start. You know, if it keeps going bad, then then it's going to get more negative, you know? Then it's going to be more negative. You know, we've got to do better, though. We do. There's no doubt about that. Both of those things can be true. But that was the point. In general, the long-reaching point here was that, you know, this was the view. This is the reality of the people within. That they hired Amorim to not judge him off of results in year one, to give him time to get in, assess the squad, figure out what to do, and then move on to the next game, and then move on to next year. This is the year. Sir Jim didn't come in to put like excess pressure on him. Yes, he wants us to win more games now. It was quite the opposite, though. In fact, you could tell Ruben Amorim looked a lot more relaxed in the press conference today. He looked a lot happier, a lot less stressed, a lot less irritated, a lot of that. And it's not because there isn't pressure to win, and it's not because the standards aren't being set high. It's because he's been given essentially the encouragement from Sir Jim that you can sort this out. He came there to offer support. Sometimes that's all it takes is a good ear, because you sit there as a United manager, and then everybody sits there and goes, you're going to get sacked, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're going to get, you know, everything's going, you're screwed, you read all these stories, you do things like that. And then the owner comes in and talks to Amorim and says, look, I want you to succeed. This is your first season. And that's what Amorim said. Sir Jim told him a number of times. I want you to succeed. I don't want you to be stressed. I don't want you to talk about leaving. I want you to stay. Because yes, he addressed the point on his interviews too about how he was so stressed in his interviews, so agitated, so concerned, and he doesn't want him to be like that. And so he is stressing to him, look, it is your first season in our eyes. That's how we're looking at it. That's how we're judging you. Okay? So, you know, I think that one of the things this might do in that respect, I was thinking about this because I was thinking about these selection issues. A manager who feels he's under intense pressure often starts to make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Managers who are under intense pressure tend to get worse. And that's often why you can't increase, like you can't claw back out of it. You get under pressure and you start to dig in, and it gets worse and worse and worse. I look at things like, you know, we've talked about this, like having, you know, some of the personnel choices, like putting Mazraoui at wing back and Bruno deep in the midfield and things like that, playing Bayendier, not taking risks with the squad, not taking risks with the personnel. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like he's risk managing when he's picking the team. That's how I feel. I feel as though when he goes into those games, why I'm unhappy with the lineup is they're often risk management. He's not going for it. He's going for risk management. And he's like, well, I've got to pick my most senior players, and I've got to pick this, and I've got to pick that, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And it's a bit of risk management. If he's not under pressure and it's like, look, find the right team that works, then you're not living day by day thinking, I've got to pick this guy every game. I've got to do this every game. I've got to make this happen every game. To me, that's my hope, is that a more relaxed Ruben will be able to see with his eyes what is going wrong and be willing to change it easily, because it's not like death. Because what happens? You pick this player, you don't pick this player, and you get in trouble. You pick tons of defenders and you lose and you get in trouble. So, yeah, that's my hope anyway, that the discussion will help him to change some things that probably need changing. he probably did feel he was under pressure in the final. He probably thought, I've gotta just put big game players in it and try to win. And that's it. I don't have much faith in Amorim anymore, but we do have to be honest with ourselves and admit how garbage a lot of these players are. Shaw, Bruno, Maguire, Bayard, Dow, these guys think. I mean, fair enough. But he also wanted to reassure him we're not looking at other managers and things like that. So, but yeah, look, as Wilcox said, there's a lot of things to turn over, a lot of things to change, a lot of things to fix. The playing identity aspect is important. I do think we have a playing identity. And look, the stats, when I bring up stats and talk about stats and stuff like that, I'm not doing it to claim that means it's all good. You've got to win games, duh. But stats, what at least sometimes they can tell you are, your style of play. Are you doing things? Are you getting better at this? Are you getting better at that? One of the things that that I will say that I think is there more than there has been in a long time is there is a style of play. And there is an identity in the way that United press, in the way that United attack, in the way that United build up, in the way that United organize. There is pace in the wide areas. We're still fast in the attack when it counts. We press hard, we counter press hard, which is the more important part for me, and try to then remain solid and hold a high line and all of that. That is, we have seen certain principles and certain aspects that are better than we've seen in years past. To me, there's no doubt about that. It just has to lead to winning games. So I think that we've started to lay down an identity as a club that we were supposed to. We have started to do that. And I think that that's a good thing. And I think we've recruited very well to match that in the long term. And I think that even if Ruben doesn't make it, I think we will have that to carry to the next manager. We're not going to be starting over. We're not going to be starting over. The only stat that matters is points on the board. No, it really doesn't. That's kind of my point about this. Because it's kind of funny, like, we did this under Solskjaer. We thought that winning games meant we were ready to win titles. But when you dug into it, we were actually shit. We did this even during Ten Hag's first season. We said, oh, we got third. We're great. And then we bought more players and we went straight backwards. Because there were so many signs in the stats that we actually weren't that good and we were being carried by Marcus Rashford during that 3-4 month period. Stats are useful. Stats are important. Stats often are more like pre-indicators. More often than not, when you're underperforming or overperforming stats, you regress to the mean. More often than not. That's what stats tell you. When we were massively overachieving, we regress to the mean. When we are underachieving, you hope we regress to the mean or progress to the mean, because that would be a good thing. Stats are, in fact, very useful in terms of understanding how you get there in the long run and understanding whether you actually have something. We fooled ourselves so many times as United fans. We ignored the stats. We ignored the stats and said, we finished in the top 4. We're good. We finished in the top 4. Go buy some players. Get Ronaldo. Get Varane. Get Sancho. Title charges on. We've all been guilty of it. We closed our eyes. We covered everything, and we said, we're fine. When if you actually did look at the numbers, we weren't that good. We were never that good. We haven't actually been that good for a long time. So many years we were overperforming based on just scoring a shitload of goals that maybe we didn't deserve. It happens so many times, and then it ends up biting us later on. That's the concern. When we finished in third that year, a lot of people pointed out at the time that performance-wise, we were more like sixth. And then the following year, when we finished eighth, performance-wise, we were 15th. Do you see how it goes one to the next to the next? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's predictable. It's kind of amazing when you actually look at it, When our first season under Ten Hag, we finished in third. But look, I know it's stats, it's expected points, it's whatever, right? But we were actually sixth. In terms of performances, it wasn't really that good. You know, it wasn't really that good. And then the following year, what happened? We finished in eighth. But look at the points. We were 15th in points. So then what happened the following year? We finished 15th. The stats do tell you something. They usually are a predictor of where you are going. They usually are a predictor of where you're going. That's actually the God's honest truth. And sometimes it's hard to stomach. Really funny thing is, like, look at, okay, I'll show you something really funny. This is actually hilarious. Check this out. I just saw this. I didn't actually realize it before. Look at United and West Ham. Finished 8th and 9th. Should have finished 15th and 16th. Look at where both clubs finished the next year. Same spot. Same spot. You know, they both finished way down the table. Stats tend to be a marker of how you end up where you were. When you ignore stats, you're doomed. When you ignore stats, you're doomed. I'm not saying that you look at good stats and just say, it's all good. We're not winning games. Everything's okay. No one's making that argument. But you can win games and be shit and see that it's coming down and that the downturn is coming and not be ready for it and fool yourself. You can also be shit and look good and the stats will eventually catch up. Usually. Nothing's guaranteed in life. But that's the point of all of these stats. That's why they evaluate things the way that they do. And it's been this way for a long, long time, really. I mean, it just has. You know, that season that we finished second under Ollie, by the numbers, we were probably 4th or 5th best team that year. But we scored a hell of a lot of goals. We overperformed our numbers, and then the following year, essentially, it all fell apart. And it's so funny. It's really quite amusing because you can kind of track it year by year by year to see. And Liverpool are the most data-driven team in all of football, and they tend to be very successful. They just do. Can you recruit top players when you're 15th, but your XG says you should be 4th? Well, we did, didn't we? We got Cunha, we got Mpumo, we got Sheshko. So we did, I think. We did. We managed it. Sometimes it matters. Sometimes it matters. But look, you've got to catch up or it doesn't matter. That's the truth of it. No one's ever denying that part of it. You have to catch up or it doesn't matter. You have to start winning or none of it matters. You know, and oftentimes then you'll collapse and the stats will fall down to match. But no, you can't ignore stats. They are important. You know what I know the craziest thing about this, by the way? And again, this is not a oh my God, we're so good. It's actually really concerning. So we know we're like second in XG, right? And it says we have 8.46 XG. And then we have 4 goals scored, right? It's a lot worse than that. It's a lot worse. Because 2 of these are own goals. 2 of these are own goals. We've scored 2 goals out of 8.46. And wait, guys, it gets worse than that. We had 2 penalties. One of those goals scored was a penalty. This means we have had 7 expected goals this season from open player set pieces. 7 expected non-penalty goals. We've scored once in 7. Out of 7, we have scored once. That's insane. It's actually insane when you think about that for a minute. Just how damning that is in a way. We have scored once out of 7 non-penalty expected goals. That's how big this problem is, that we can't fucking score goals. It is so bad. Like, Brian Mbumo has 1.8 XG for this season, okay? I want to show you something. Oh, it's not going to have non-pen XG, actually. Anyway, if you actually take penalties away, someone pointed this out yesterday, Brian Mbumo has accumulated 25% of his XG, of his non-penalty XG as he had all season last year already for us. He has accumulated 25% of his entire season's expected goals last season already this season in just 4 games. And we can't score goals. It's hilarious. It's actually quite incredible. You know, it is quite incredible. So I don't know. It doesn't make you feel better, and it doesn't make me feel better, but it does go to show, you know, that it's even worse. Our scoring problem is even worse than we think. Someone asked, like, does Chelsea have good stats? Unfortunately, yes. Chelsea are, I would say, on paper, the only team that have definitely been better than United in most measures. If you look at, like, passes per defensive action, they press well. They don't allow a lot of chances. They're good. Shots on target per 90, you can see they're all the way up here. Chelsea are good. Chelsea are, like, real good. I wish that wasn't the case, but Chelsea are good. Now, you can beat them. You watch Brentford, they got at Chelsea pretty easy by just one long ball. Now, I think, again, that plays into our hands, but yeah, they played West Ham and they did rack up a lot, but we did against Burnley. So, you know, they're doing okay. You know, and so you look at it and go, yeah, well, statistically, all of these teams are producing except us, which is kind of depressing. Like, that's kind of the hilarious part. Like, we can discount stats, except these are all the best teams in the league right now, frankly. Like, except us. Like, we're this crazy outlier. We're this crazy outlier. Someday we won't be. Someday we won't be the outlier in the numbers, and we'll actually be consistent. It would be nice. It would be nice if we were not the shit outlier on everything. Chelsea's keeper, well, okay, that's the other factor in this. That's just the reality. Our keepers have made 0 saves, man. Nothing. They've done nothing. They've done absolutely nothing to help us. I think it has this season. Look. It's not just the mistakes. Look. Bayindir's in the 13th percentile. Look at his save percentage this season. It would just be nice if we just had a keeper that made a few saves, you know? Like, is it so hard to ask? Is it so hard to ask that we have a keeper make a few saves? Like, look at Sanchez. No, but look at his numbers so far this year. He's got the best stats in probably the league at making saves. No, he's not passing the ball particularly well. That's great. Bayindir can pass the ball. Cool. Look at this. I mean, this is the shit we're dealing with here. We have the worst keepers in the Premier League too. They never bail us out. Not once. Let's look at the other decent teams. Oh, look at David Raya in the 93rd percent. No, wait, what number is it? It's higher than that, isn't it? 98th percentile for save percentage. Just cheeky little 98th. We've got 14. We've got 14. Who the hell is Liverpool's keeper still Alisson? Alisson's been shit. He's not made any saves at all, but Liverpool have actually been kind of mediocre. So that's fair. Alisson's been terrible. Hasn't made any saves, which is kind of funny. Has he had to make any saves? That's one question. I don't actually know. Who else is in net? Liverpool are funny because the data says they're crap, but they just have that magic. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just have that fucking black magic shit that just They've been bad every single game, and they still win. Every single game, Liverpool are bad, and they win. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I mean, it's better right now if we're good, but I mean, Newcastle haven't been good either. But look at even Pope here, so you can see it clear. Look, even Pope, just 64%. Just 64%, 98%, 79%, 14. Like, brother, give me Vicario? Yeah, let's look at Vicario. Oh, look at that. He's also 99%. 97th. Like, look at these numbers. These are your save numbers. 79, 98, 64, 99, 90, 69, 60, 97, 39, and 14. Like, just... Can we get one bit of luck? One thing, you know? We can't finish our chances. Worse than anybody. And our keeper won't make a single fucking save. Our keeper won't help us at all. The two most important parts on the pitch. Because Amorim said in his press conference today, right? He said in his press conference, what did he say? He said, we're bad in both boxes. That's the answer. Put the other fucking keeper on, man. Put the other fucking keeper on. We're bad in both boxes. I agree with him. We don't finish our chances and we don't make any saves. Lawman's we're not going to see. Well, if we look at Lawman's he's not going to be on here because this is for top 7. Like, that's it. When you look at these two numbers, these two things next to each other, and you go, we finished 1 out of 7 on our expected goals, and we have the worst keeper in the Premier League. So why are we bad at both? Why are we not winning games? That's the answer. All I'm saying is that, like, I know I've disagreed with people on this a million times, and it's almost boring at this point. It's really, really hard for me to blame the system when we're 1 goal scored on 7 XG and we have the worst keeper in the Premier League. It's really, really, really hard for me to blame the system. I can blame the picks of the personnel, though. I can absolutely blame the personnel choices. Not really at keeper, but Lawmans has to start now. Like, Lawmans has to start now. I get why he didn't have a choice earlier, but Lawmans has to start now. I can blame personnel, but it's really hard to blame the system. If we had a keeper even similar to any of these, we probably have won. We'd probably be on like 9-10 points right now. Who selects Binder? Who else was there to pick before last weekend when the player had only been in training for 3 days? Who else was there to pick? I'll blame him moving forward, don't get me wrong. Who else was there to pick? We started Šeško on last week and he didn't score. I'm not blaming Šeško, but like, yeah, like that's why I say I can blame his personnel choices. This is not a system problem. This is a personnel problem. And we do have better options to pick that can fix this. But we also need Cunha and Mbumo and these guys to fucking score goals too. Like they need to, and Ahmad. These guys need to pick it up a little bit. They do. They just have to. These guys have to show who they are. Bruno, Cunha, Ahmad, and Mbumo do need to start picking it up. They really have to start picking it up and scoring when they have the opportunities. That much is true. You know, but fuck me, dude. Like, I've never looked at this before today. I never looked at comparing the keepers. It's not about scoring more than you're conceding. It's about this, Sissy. Like, you're right. But imagine you're doing well but you're not breaking through. And then the first chance the opposition has, they score. And then the head loss goes, and then you start falling down, and then you're chasing the game, and all sorts of things happen. If you have that keeper bail you out of that one bad moment that you have, and you don't concede, how much does the game change? Because, like, I look at that City game and I go, I'm not saying Bayindir should save the Foden one. But maybe a good keeper, a really good keeper would. And you'd been playing better than City up to that point. You have a huge mistake. Doku beats Shaw. You make big mistakes. All of a sudden, if you have a keeper bail you out in that moment, maybe you can keep the momentum going. Maybe you can keep the momentum going and not fall behind. But instead, we never get bailed out. You look at other teams, they're very often getting bailed out. Against Fulham, remember, against Fulham, Cunha is in on net. Cunha is in on net. And their keeper, whoever the fuck his name is, makes a huge save, one-on-one against Cunha. He doesn't have to. You wouldn't expect the keeper to do that. But it keeps them in the game. When we're pressing, when we're killing them, it kept them in the game by doing something extra beyond what you would, beyond just like Leno. Yeah, right. Let's see if Leno's any better. Bernard Leno. Nah, man. Nah. 76.7 and 92.2. Look at how good Leno has been for Fulham. It's depressing. It's depressing. It's fucking depressing. It's just depressing. I mean, even Trafford, man. Even Trafford, man. Who's the Wolves keeper? Like, we get nothing. We get nothing. We don't get one tiny iota smidge. Fucking just we don't even get a tiny little bit of hope from our keeper. Not even one little fucking bit of hope from our keeper to keep us in the game. Not one thing. I mean, he's worse. And they have 0 wins, so there you go. That's the only keeper worse, and they have 0 wins. So that's not a surprise. Maybe having an unbelievably shit keeper is part of the problem. You know? There's Emmy this season so far. Oh, man. I have single-handedly watched Emmy already save them some points, even though they haven't been good. Oh, how's Ramsdale been doing? Yeah, that's a good question. Well, they don't have this season because he's not playing, because he's in the championship. Saw's been awful. So he's at 1%, and they have 0 wins. And Emmy is at 85% and 81%. Like, it's depressing. I can't look up guy. Oh, Sells is a S. Is it this guy? Forrest. Look at the Forest keeper. Where is he? He's not been doing so hot. Have they been good this year? Ramsdale's at Newcastle. Has he been playing? Because we put Pope on there. So he just didn't have enough minutes or something. Forest are in 15th. Oh, so they're shit. Well, that explains a lot, doesn't it? We put Pope on there already. I thought Pope was the keeper for Newcastle. I've put Pope in here, and he's good. He's good. He's not amazing, but he's good. So, yeah, I mean, I bet you correlate every shit team there. Oh, yeah, Southampton last year. Yeah. But no, it's just depressing. It's just like we can't get a single bailout. You know what I mean? Why can't we get a single bailout? Who else is actually decent in the table? Who's Bournemouth's keeper? What about Everton? Pickford. Ooh, that's a good one. Pickford's always a good one to look at because he's... Look at Pickford. Look at Pickford. Just like... Where? These are keepers that will keep them in the game sometimes. These are keepers that will keep them in the game sometimes. Save percentage doesn't, but that's why I'm looking at this stat too. If they're good in both of these, that tends to mean they're good because that's post-shot expected goals. So it means they're preventing expected goals, if you get me. That's why this stat is important. Like, it's these two together. That's why oftentimes they're connected. Like, both of them are high. That's a good thing. For Bruggen. Yeah, he's been poor. Where's Brighton? Down in 13th as well. So, you know, so yeah, look, all I'm saying is that, like, we could go through them and a lot of the lower teams are going to have shit keepers. But, like, the fact of the matter is that, yeah, you know, are the keepers bailing them out or not? Sometimes. Ours, never. Theirs, sometimes. We'd never
James
get bailed
needs a
out.
hug and a drink, lol.
Oh, Dino, yeah. Must be nice. Must be nice not having this guy at our fucking club anymore. Glad we got rid of him. Glad we got rid of Dino. Great. Only the 95th percentile for saves and fuck, man. Yeah. Yeah, Chris, exactly. I did Sanchez. He's good. We're just never getting bailed out. It's honestly, it's no surprise. It's like this is the reality of where we are as a team. We don't get any fucking help. You know, we're bad in both sides. We're scoring 1 out of 7 XG, and we never ever get anybody to make a save. Nobody makes a save beyond when it's right at their hands, and then they add mistakes on top of that. It's depressing, man. It's depressing. Yeah, who's Sunderland's keeper? Is it Patterson or Jimmy? Oh, Jesus, that's looked at the wrong name there. Who's their keeper? I don't know. I don't know if it has them, or is it Manone? Who's their keeper? I don't know who their keeper is. It doesn't have them. Is it Oh, Patterson is their number 1, but he's not showing up here for some reason. You saw it. Rofs is their keeper now. Is their keeper, right? Oh yeah, let's take a look at Rofs. Here's the mighty Sunderland. Okay, ready? Depression. Depression. Must be nice. Must be nice that every team that's winning games has a keeper who once in a while makes a fucking save. Once in a while. Must be nice. Petrovic. His is actually not that good, to be fair. It's interesting. It's like one outlier here. They've allowed very few shots on target on goal. Well, they've actually conceded 5 goals on only 3.5 xG, so he's not helping them very much. Impressive stuff from Iraola, no doubt about that. But yeah, like another one, you know. I'm sad. I'm sad. All right, that's it. Let's get to the lineup vote, my friends, and then we'll compare it to mine. We'll end it, and I'll be back in the morning. I will have my match preview out in a couple of hours as well. I've got to get going soon, so we need to get through this. All right, let's just do it. Goalkeeping coach doesn't make goalkeepers better, to be quite honest. But yeah, just go. Must be nice, man. Just one time to have your keeper make a fucking save, dude. Is Xerxes at the 10 hipster? No, it's his position, in my opinion. It's his position. All right, everybody wants to see Sheshko. That is good. Left 10. Remember, this is what you want, my friends, just as a reminder, as I always do when we do these little votes. What do you want? What do you want? All right, that one looks pretty solidly Cunha. You want Xerxes to play more? Me too. Oh yeah, don't worry. We're gonna vote on Euro. We'll vote for the center back trifecta. Okay. Or maybe I'll even do it in a different way. Okay. Well, Mbumo in the left hand. You can't tell me Heaton is worse. You're right. And Bwemps, so far so good. And Bwemps. Who's smashing into Garnacho? Hopefully Ugarte. That'll be a good one. Usually makes a nice kick. I don't know, man. No, I saw what Maguire said. He said it's easy to blame the formation and all that, but because it's different, but yeah. People say we play with a back 3 or 5, but a lot of time during the game we also play with a back 4. If you stop the game and analyze it, use the back 4 in many phases of the game. It's been like that since the manager arrived. People like to talk about formation because we're playing a different system than the rest. The formation has been fine. We've been comfortable tactically in every game. It's got to be down to the players. Wow. You're not allowed to believe him, though. What would he know? Football Manager expert on Twitter told me that it's the formation. Dorgu. I mentioned yesterday, like, what if we swapped Dorgu to the right, and Ahmad to the left, just out of curiosity. That was Harry Maguire who said that. It was Harry Maguire who said that. It's like, you know, it ain't him saying shit to the press. The options thin. The leak finder thins. Da, 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 da. He says the tactics have been fine. We've been comfortable tactically, all of that as well. Sean, left wing back, can he still do it? No, and he certainly shouldn't be on the pitch. Okay. So far, so good. All right. Well, he might say we're learning or something like that. You know what I mean, Bliff? I've seen players say that before. So let's go midfield and let's see. Do we want to go Cass, Ugarte, Cass, Mainu, Bruno, Cass, Bruno, Ugarte. Actually, we're just going to have to go midfield one. We're just going to have to do this one by one. We're going to go Bruno. We're just going to have to do it like this. So there's too many combinatorics here. If Dorgu isn't doing the business at left wing back, I'd throw... Yeah, sure. I would throw Shaw there at the end of the game, too. What are my thoughts on Hayden Hackney? I love Hayden Hackney. I think he's a great, very, very, very good young player who hopefully will do very, very well. I would have liked to see us do some more with him. All right, so we've got Mainu. So are you guys going for the Mainu Ugarte midfield then? Or are you going to go Mainu Casemiro? Or are you going to go Mainu Bruno? Yeah, it was Mainu Ugarte in preseason. And people keep saying, well, we lost to Grimsby with that, and that's fair enough, but we also we've also played very well with it too. I really don't think it was that reason why we had a bad game against Grimsby. Maybe we were just fucked. Maybe we just sucked. Maybe our keeper put it in his own net twice. Even though one was like a triple handball, but... That's neither here nor there. I think when people actually rewatched, if people did, I don't think a lot of people did, but I think if people actually rewatched that City game, I really, really don't get all of the stuff on Ugarte. Like, okay, he got nutmegged on one play for the goal. That's fine. Not great. But on the whole of the game, he actually played quite decent in there. All right, so now when we go to the center backs, I'm going to say who needs to not... Oh, wait, no, let's see. Let's go LCB, Euro, Shaw, Maz. Let's do that. Let's put these as our left center back options. Is this therapy or making us more depressed? I don't know. I don't know anymore. I mean, it would be easy to swap them if you played Euro and Maz together. You could just swap them at any point in time anyway, so. I'll give Maguire's an option in the middle and maybe even on the right. Because I don't think Maguire can ever be a wide center back. Sometimes Delict plays wide. I don't think Maguire's played wide in fucking ages and ages and ages. Okay. Yoru, 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 yori, yara, yoru, yoru. I don't think I think Maguire is a bit too clunky to play wide center back. I would agree, and he does dictate the game well on the ball from central. I did say Maguire's dealt with Holland better most of the time, but he got the better of us yesterday or last week, and a terrible moment conceding the third goal, but the game was already dead by then. Miss Bruno every time he doesn't play. I don't care. Like I said, there has to be consequences, and the training wheels have to come off at some point, man. At some point, the training wheels gotta come off, and we have to learn to play without Bruno. Otherwise, we are always at the mercy of his minor drops in form. No, we definitely won't play Heaven on the right. That much can be sure. That much we can be sure. Okay. And last, but certainly not least, yeah, the team is, I think everybody's just fed up with certain things. Thanks, Coyote. Thanks, Coyote. Lamans. There you go. There you go. That's it. That's your team. See, and the thing I like about this team, young, going into their prime, young, a little bit older, young. This is actually building a team for the future. You know what I'm saying? This is what a rebuild would look like. A few players who are more established, a couple, and a lot of young players that you're expecting to improve together. That would make me happy. Besides just the game itself, I would feel like this is a team that could actually build something. This is what you guys wanted. This is what I wanted. The only difference is I stuck Casemiro in there. And it's not because I don't want it to be Ugarte Menu, okay? I explained yesterday my thinking on this, but otherwise I did it exactly the same as you guys. I explained yesterday my thinking on this. I want Menu to come on at 55, 60 minutes into a slightly more settled environment, and then I want him to take over, and I want him to work and then become the starter in there, because I just want him to settle. And I feel like with Casemiro, we'll get a little bit of the passing. We can settle the game down a little bit. Sometimes he provides that. This midfield sometimes to me provides a lot of stability. Settle into the game and then get Kobe into it, and then Kobe can take over. That's my thinking, okay? The captain would be Mazraoui on this team, almost assuredly. He's the only guy in the leadership group on the team, which is telling to a degree, isn't it? Mazraoui would probably be captain. But I would pick this team every week and just ride it out. Honestly. Bring Bruno on as a sub. Bring Mount on as a sub. Bring Xerxes on as a sub. Bring Casemiro on as a sub. You know, Casemiro for me, he has shown up in big games. I have my qualms with him, but I think he could help you stabilize to start. And then Menu can become the starter within a couple of games and just kind of settle in there, you know, and then you flip it the other way around. Start Menu, sub Casemiro in. Bruno, I don't know, man, because Bruno play for form. If these guys are scoring, Bruno's a sub. If he's not scoring, you put Bruno in. I get it. Bruno's probably going to play. I'm just saying, this is what I want. Same as you guys. That's what I want. And I just wish we would do it. I mean, that's all. I'm not saying we will, but I wish we would. I wish we would. There's your team. There's your team for this week. By the way, big up. Watch along tomorrow morning. There is an iPhone app now, so if you're watching on iPhone, if you use if you're watching the game on the TV and you've got me on the phone, you can use the app now. Should perform and work a bit better. So come join me for that tomorrow, because I'll be ending here in a minute. Also, the fantasy competition this week is free. You don't have to be in the UK or Spain to join either. Just come join, play. You win 600 big bucks, which you can use to donate to your favorite streamer like myself, or you can use it for future entries into the competition in other weeks. So go play that. The link is below. And obviously then want more people to do it, making it free with a little reward there, so that more people will play and it's easier, and you don't have to use you don't have to go to the UK or Spain to enter. So go pick your team and join as well. But yes, there's an app now too, so it'll make the watch alongs easier if you are on your iPhone. But yeah, that's it. That's your team. One more time, just taking a look at it. This is the team you guys want to go with. I pretty much agree with that entirely. I like to see us try that tomorrow. And yes, no more quick trip to join that. The link is below. And yes, I'll be back in the morning for a live around lineups. My preview will be dropping in a couple hours. It's just about a 10-minute video. If you are a member, that video is already out, so you can go watch it. And then in the morning, we'll be live for lineups, for pre-match, and then over to the watch along. Thanks for hanging out on this Friday. I appreciate you all. I've got to run. Thank you very much. It's called Big Up. The app is Big Up. It's just Big Up. Just search Big Up. It'll show up in the App Store. Okay. Thank you all. I appreciate you all very much. Hopefully something changes tomorrow. Hopefully we can kickstart the season a little bit, because it's rough out here, man. Everything we said, an hour of yap about why it's the first season, all of that, looking at the numbers and everything. It's cool. We still need to win games. We still need to win games. We need a better keeper in net, and we need to finish some chances primarily. And I think that would go a long way. Okay. Enjoy your night. See you tomorrow. See you later. Have a good one. Goodbye.